morning, friends. I want to extend a warm welcome to you today. Everyone is welcome here. You are welcome here regardless of age, race, income, religion, or the gender with which you identify. You're welcome here regardless of who you love, who you vote for, and any regrets that burden you or the mistakes that you have made. In this safe community, we support each other in the sacred task of becoming, celebrating, transcending the mystery of life, and rely on the transforming power of love. Here, we revere the words of the great teachers such as Jesus, the Buddha, and Confucius. It is the task of every UU to be their own Buddha, Jesus, or Confucius. It is a cornerstone of our religion that even though we do not always have control over the events of our lives, each of us is the author of our own life experience, and through the practice of loving kindness, we can heal our bodies, our minds, our spirits, and our planet. It is our work as a community to walk with each other along a spiritual pathway that leads toward happiness, compassion, and life fully lived. And while we are a safe harbor where there is solace and healing, we're also a launching pad from which we are propelled into the tumult of life to live courageously, justly, and lovingly. In this sacred space, we create the structures that lift up the downtrodden, set the captives free, and heal the brokenhearted. We have learned that to be fully human is to be fully divine, and that with a little help from our friends, we can each tell our own unique story.
Well done, Pat. I know that as a 74-year-old old white guy, I feel a lot better when an old white guy reads those words. So, thank you, Pat. I feel better already. So today we have a kind of a interesting service. We're going to be honoring teachers today, and we've all had great teachers in our lives. And later on in the service, anyone who wishes is going to have an opportunity to share a story or anecdote about a teacher that meant a lot to them. So that's coming up in the service today. So let's ask Beth, if you would please, to welcome our Zoomers, please.
Joining us today, we have Peter and Patrice, so welcome.
So let's continue with our service. Dave and Beth, would you light our chalice for us?
As we light this chalice, let its flame honor the spirit of teaching, the gentle hands that guide, the curious minds that spark new ideas, and the hearts that nurture growth in others. May this light remind us that teaching is a sacred calling, one that shapes the future with each moment of kindness, patience, and wisdom. In this space, we honor all who have shared their knowledge and hearts with others. May their light continue to inspire us all.
Thank you, Beth and Dave. Dave and Beth are the parents of Audrey Antosz Flowers and Brandon's in-laws, so it's great to have you here. Today we are going to honor teachers, but I do not want to confuse this with the teacher honoring ceremony that we're going to do in the spring for all the teachers that teach our kids and us in different various classes. Um, I know that each of us here has had a teacher or teachers that have meant a lot to them, that possibly have changed their lives. And now I'd like to invite anyone up who would like to share a story. You know what? We are doing those first. These are, I have discovered a new way to get people to participate in the service. When they say they can't be here, I just say, hey, you can send us a video. So today, I feel good. My daughter-in-law is coming to you from her office in Notre Dame. My son, who is a special ed teacher in California, will be speaking. And Tina, who has been a teacher and is a but a school administrator, and who also serves as an unofficial chaplain to her community, will be speaking in these videos. And I don't know what order they're coming in, but I'll just leave that to Beth. So Beth, why don't you roll them? My daughter-in-law.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to be one more Sunday with you sharing this moment. As you know, Jim is an expert on asking difficult questions and make you think about other aspects of your life that maybe you never thought before. And in this case, he is asking me a personal reflection on how teaching sustains me emotionally and spirituality. To begin with, I would like to say that for me, teaching is a responsibility because I was lucky to be able to be taught. I was lucky to have amazing teachers and professors all my life, and now I feel this responsibility to transmit what I learned to other people. So emotionally, I think that it's an opportunity to connect with the students. I think that creates or make you feel part of a community where you belong. You're part of this group that you grow with. It also has really impactful moments because sometimes you have these students that finally understand a concept that you are trying to teach, and then you have this moment of aha. And it's really important to have these moments, or how you find out that because of your class, someone decided to go one pathway because it helped a lot what you teach them. Those are really impactful moments. And also for me, it's a continuous learning experience because even though you are teaching most of the time or every year the same concepts, every year is different, every student is different, every situation is different, and you are always learning from this experience. In the spiritual side of the questions, I think that it makes you have a purpose in life. It's kind of you can contribute to the future or future generations, and that make you really feel like your job is important. I think it's also a process of self-reflecting, because you are, as I said before, you are learning all the time, and make you think about your values and your beliefs, so that make you grow all the all the way. And then also because I think that because I feel diverse in this country, I am more aware about diversity, and I never felt this before. But I think that diversity is a really good an enrichment process. And finding the diversity in the students and the class is really good also for learning. It's a good learning experience for them and for you. So as a conclusion, I would say that for me, teaching is not a profession. I think it's a journey, and that journey make you make connections, have challenges that make you grow, and keep learning all your life. So I hope that that helped, and thank you for inviting me for this. Bye.
Okay. I should add that.
Good morning.
I should add that Pilar hires several students, postdocs and doctoral students in her lab, as well as being a teacher. And she just recently told me how she went to great lengths to help an Iranian student get from Iran to here, get the right kind of visa, so she could work and study in Pilar's lab. So Pilar really does put her money where her mouth is in terms of helping students all over the place. And next, I think we're going to have Tina.
Sorry I can't be with you all today, but favorite slice of paradise up here in northern Michigan. You know, Jim asked me to share a little bit about why I teach, and for me, it's a really simple. It's a very cliche old adage, but it's true. It's not for the income, definitely, but it's for the outcome. When I was in the classroom, I taught for over 10 years, and when I was in the classroom, those aha moments, whether it was for the academic, something finally clicked and they got it, or maybe socially, you know, they were learning how to be a friend or be part of our class community. Those were huge. And in 2017, when I took on an office role, an admin role at Countryside Academy, I was able to reach even more, because it wasn't just the 20 to 30 kids that I worked with, it was all of the elementary and now beyond, because my kids have moved on to middle school and high school, and their families will still contact me and they will still talk to me. And subsequently, our members of our school staff know that I connect so much with these families that they tend to call me and say, hey, what can you tell me about these kids, and what can you tell me about this family? You know, how can we better serve them, and what resources could they use, and, you know, things like that. And that means a lot to me, because I grew up needing the village. It was just my mom and myself raising my brothers, and we had to lean in a lot. And for me, being able to do that for all of our families as best as I can not only allows me to be a part of their story and their village, but it allows me to kind of reflect back and pay homage to all those who did it for my family and for me.
Okay, thank you. Tina, as I mentioned, is a chaplain, really, just as she functions as a school administrator, but she really does keep track and know the lives of so many of the kids and families she works with. And I must say, of all the people I know, she has one of the biggest hearts of anybody. She's a great person, and I am very happy that she's a part of our family. And now, this one I'm a little reluctant to show. In fact, I'm not showing all of it because my son has a sense of humor that doesn't wear well. But here's the part where he was serious.
Hi, my name is Brian McConnell. I was asked to, I'm a teacher, 7th grade special ed teacher, and I was asked to explain why I teach. I kind of fell into the profession. I teach for two reasons. First one is life's too short to work a job that you do just for the money. So obviously not doing it for the money. I teach special ed because I work with the most vulnerable students, ones who, you know, these aren't honor students where it doesn't really matter who the teacher is. It's, you know, as a teacher, I can make a difference in their life, and just I like the advocacy piece of, you know, fighting against the system when, you know, my bosses or the school system isn't doing something right. So.
Okay, my son, Brian, who is a special ed teacher and who is really quite good at it. I actually have to say that I'm still amazed and surprised at Brian. He's my third son. And when he was a kid, he didn't have any job. Like my other kids had jobs, but he didn't have a job, but he still had plenty of money. And we were wondering how, where the money came from, until we got a call from the police one day. And Turns out he was a genius at manufacturing fake IDs, and was also not only that, but using his own fake ID to buy liquor and sell to other students. But one day he became too confident, and he wore his letterman jacket in to buy liquor. Well, this tipped the clerk off, and pretty soon the police were swarming him, and he got to actually spend some time in juvie. So it was quite a surprise when he now is doing something that he really finds important, and I think it really is important. He does really care for his kids. He has 15 kids in his class this year, and 9 of them are autistic, and the class is very difficult, and 9 and 4 aides, so there's a lot of aides in there, but still it's such a challenge to teach those kids and to work with parents. Working with parents is some of the most difficult part of his job. But at any rate, those 3 said yes, and I appreciate that, and I will send them your thanks when tomorrow when I write my thank you notes. Would anyone here? How many people here are teachers of some sort or another? Okay. Would any teacher like to come up and share why they teach? Anybody want to come and share? Okay, Leanne.
Well, I just got to teach a 4-week class of art journaling at the Crassel, and it was super fun. And let's see, 2 of the people were from here that came and took it. Is this working?
Yeah, yes.
Anyway, it was really fun. And for me, the really fun part about it is I love doing art, making art, and I just think anybody can do it if you want to do it. You don't have to do it. But anyway, but if you want to, there's no reason you can't. And it's such a big world. I enjoy sharing how many different kinds of art there are. I mean, we don't have to get stuck with the Renaissance and the Impressionists, as great as they all are. There's a lot more out there. And you can just make such different stuff. So for me, it was a real thrill to be working with these people and see them just moving their hands. You know, they're all like, you know, roughly my age or whatever. And some of them have never had an art class before. And they're just making stuff and being free and enjoying it, the joy of that. Like it is when you're a kindergartner and you just color. It's fun to just scribble, right? And you can still do that. So anyway, to me, that was so fun to see that just open up for them and hear them say like, I can do it, you know, and just have them enjoying things. And that was fun.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Leanne. Appreciate that. Clark.
56 years ago, I began studying with Martin E. Marty at the University of Chicago. For many years, the most noted historian of American religion in the country. Marty, over the course of his career, has published more than 50 books. Nonetheless, he loved to say to us students, no book is ever finished. And that was excellent advice, both for graduate students who get easily tied up and unable to write anything because it doesn't seem finished. But more generally, it was crucial for all of us and continues to be crucial for me because at each of those moments, I know that I'm learning as I write. I'm changing as I write. No book is ever finished because the next one is being thought of.
Amen. Well, Clark, I got to ask you a question, though. It's an important question. I think a lot of people want to know the answer. I should mention that Clark is the dean at the University of Chicago. Was a dean, retired dean, right?
Yeah, totally retired.
Yeah, yeah. And he's working on his 5th book?
4th, yeah.
4th. Okay. So, and I've read one with books on Emily Dickinson. He's a historian and very academic guy. But I think the question that we all want to know is, in high school, did you ever get a B?
Oh, I was good at B's. Yeah, I would say my grade point average was average.
Average. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, Clark. Is there anybody else who is a teacher who would like to share? Candace, who's taught a generation or two of piano students, right?
Yeah. So one day somebody asked me, well, how many years have you been teaching? And I just went, this many. So I have to figure I started teaching piano when I was in college. So that would have been 1970. So you do the math. And I think about, so I've had two teaching careers, I guess you'd say, one for music and piano and voice, and the other, I worked with special ed, emotionally impaired autism for 30 years. So I can really identify with your son. And I have the scars and the concussions and whatever to back it up. But I've many times have had people ask me, well, why do you do it? Why do you teach? Why do you work with these kids? And I guess because I see where I can influence their lives, I can encourage them, and hopefully give them something to grow and build with out of my meager experience. I always feel like the other question I always ask myself is, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I'm still asking that. But so I guess the proof is in the pudding. I'm a teacher. And I have a daughter that's an excellent teacher and administrator. I have a son who loves to teach. My husband is quite the opposite, just a little side note. But I'm not the greatest piano teacher. I'm not the best piano player. But I feel like I have something to offer, so I offer it. And a lot of times it has more to do with encouraging kids, inspiring kids, as opposed to building their skills on the keys. So, yeah. My kids are right now asking me all the time, when are you going to retire? When are you going to stop teaching? I'm not sure I ever will.
Thank you. I should add that while Candace says she is not the best piano player, she is the best piano player we have. So, and we are very thankful for that. So, are there others who would like to share? Either if you're a teacher, share why you teach, or if you had a teacher that meant something to you, meant a lot to you. Rich.
I should mention in saying this that I'm married to a teacher. She was a substitute teacher for 17 years when we moved out here, and taught anything from 5th grade up to seniors in high school. But what I appreciate most about my wife Sandy is that she taught me. She taught me compassion for all living things, literally from the smallest to the biggest. That being said, I gotta admit that I'm still having a struggle with deer ticks, stink bugs, and field mice.
Thank you, Rich. Deej.
I have two stories, but I'll just tell you the one. My daughter is a very committed inner city teacher. Her name is Ashley. And I mean, she has always loved kids and loved to play teacher and all this. Went to DePaul and has her bachelor's or master's, am I right, B? Yeah. And she adores her job. However, she works at inner city Chicago. It's called Lincoln Park School or Lincoln School. So she has Cabrini Green and she has Lakeshore Drive. Hello. And once in a while, she has the disturbed children. And every year she like dreads because the teachers talk among themselves. Where do you get this? Oh, where do you get that? So were these two little boys that were coming into her I think 7th grade. She's, oh, mother, oh my God, the hormones. Whoa. And I said, yeah, you can handle it. Oh no, but she said, I got these 2. They're coming. Oh my, what am I gonna do? I said, tell me about them. She said, mother, they can't sit still. They're always interrupting. They're showing off for the girls. I'm like, oh, it's terrible. What am I gonna do? She came to me. And in my paradoxical Indian way of thinking, I said, make them your pets. Those little boys blossomed under her. They grew. And she's, mother, I still get love notes from them. And I just want to say thank you to all of you special ed people and just plain teachers. I mean, Ashley's a plain teacher, but she has a passion, doesn't she, Biggie? She has a passion about these kids. And she comes to me whenever she has problems. And I love that because I feel like I'm in the classroom too, but kind of like a sub-principal. So I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Deej. Would anybody else like to share an experience? Charlene?
Back in 1993, I decided I wanted to go back to college. I'd always wanted to get my degree in art and art history, so I went to Stetson University. And at one point, I was in the art studio, and I said, I can't do this. And I walked outside, and my teacher followed me out, and he said, you can do this. I believe in you. Don't quit. And I went back in, and then 3 years later, I graduated, and I remained a friend of his and took some workshops with him. And one thing that he said that I carried away always was that he said, in life as in art, there are infinite possibilities.
Thank you, Charlene. Always possibilities. Nan?
I want to share with you a poem from my poems as memoir, Black Dirt Days. It has a not happy ending, but I'll tell you the ending of her, what happened to this teacher. She was an orphan from World War II, and she was from Germany. And she was brought to this country by a Catholic welfare organization. And she taught at our high school in Iowa, which had 50 students. So we were kind of small. And her name was Ori Wick. And tell you the ending. So the ending is, after all this happened, she moved to California and became a civil rights attorney. So this is what she's the reason I'm a writer. She taught English. And the title is Hawkeyes Read, don't they? Elvira, Iowa, in 1961, is a place where a committee meets to measure the length of cheerleaders' skirts. It isn't much of a surprise then when the newly minted English teacher strides into study hall, red hair, a rival for the setting sun, skirt above her knees, that good folk gird for battle. Girls whisper, watch her swirl a brush in a Revlon tube, draw peachy lips in the restroom mirror. My God, they've never seen the likes of it. Smack together, pouchy. A war survivor with the gall to teach English when she has a German accent herself. She smokes, plays cards, dates a Catholic, drifts toward a diamond for Christmas, radiating a scent of sandalwood. Outrage is served up over coffee. At halftime in the cafeteria, sententious lips report to the Lutheran and Methodist ministers on the purchase of paperback books for that newfangled contemporary lit class. And why should taxpayers shell out for a library in the corner of Study Hall, of all things? Just a place to waste time. Several committees meet. The school board votes in secret, and the next day, under the principal's hawk eye, the janitor rolls a garbage cart into Study Hall. Don't try to hide a book in the back of your desk. The old hawk pivots his sinewy neck. All the king's men lurk under Larry's bookkeeping text. Kathy tries to shelter Rhett Butler. Don't care if you're Rhett or Scarlett or Willie Stark, you won't live to corrupt another day. Roll on down the cement stairs to the 50-gallon drum outside and Fahrenheit 451. The wind that day swirls ashes high past study hall windows and over icy fields securely fenced. They fire her. She declines. Has a contract year to finish, strides into study hall, skirt above her knees, red hair a rival for the setting sun, the taste of ashes on her tongue.
Well, that was an unexpected treat, Nan. Thank you very much. I actually went to that same small high school in North Dakota. So, okay, are there others who'd like to share? Julie, and name dropping again. Vicky, yes, I know Vicky. As I get older, I'm doing this more. My mother was very bad at it when she.
A long time ago, I won't say how long ago, my parents were divorced. My father was in the Navy. My mother worked. There was no daycare. So she sent us across the lake to my aunt and uncle's north of town. And I went to a run room school for 4th and 5th grade. Every day, Mrs. Trigg would drive down from South Haven, which in those days was a long way. And she taught us, and what were there were beginners through 6th grade. I like that, beginners. And so after the 2 years, we went back to my mother, who was living on the sophisticated North Shore of Chicago when I started 6th grade. And I was there for 6 weeks, and they promoted me to 7th. Hooray, Mrs. Trigg.
And Vicky. Thank you, Julie.
I have to give a plug for, I had a lot of good teachers and a lot of bad teachers, but Adam Benjamin was my teacher, and he only taught 2 years. And if you look up Adam Benjamin in Wikipedia, this was in Gary, Indiana, where Charlene and and he taught at Gary Edison, which is not even in existence anymore. But I think he taught me eternal optimism, and I think he's the only person who inspired me for sure to finish college and go to college. And I've talked to other people who were in my class, and he inspired so many other people. And he was a West Point graduate, and if you look him up on Wikipedia, the man did so much, but he died at 47 from a heart attack. But he did so much for the Gary area. He became a lawyer, and he was in Congress, but he, unfortunately died at 47, but he still inspired so many people. So Adam Benjamin. And I found out something from Wikipedia. I got to know later in life, coincidentally, his sister-in-law. She was in a book club of mine, and I knew, but only for a couple sessions, and she was married to his twin brother. I knew it was his brother, but he had a twin, and his twin brother was also a lawyer. So I think the family did so much, and from being from Gary, that was a difficult place to be. So Adam Benjamin, you have to look him up on Wikipedia.
Thank you, Vicky. Jeff.
I never was a full-time teacher. Oops, excuse me here. Anyway, I was a substitute teacher. The economy had just stalled out. Obama is just taking over. And I hadn't worked for a couple of months, even as a handyman. I had one call, was just an hour-long job. And so, you know, what are you going to do? You have to do something. I said, I'll substitute teach. And so substitute teaching gave me my weekends free. I could be with the family, and my wife was real happy with it. And then I come from a family of teachers kind of thing, so I kind of had a fit for it. And one of my favorite moments, I'm going into this little school. It's like a little country school. There's only 77 kids in the whole place. And so you, okay, you're going to be the music substitute today. I don't really know how to teach music at all. I am lost in it. But nevertheless, I could sit, you know, sing songs with them or something like that. And I've got the kids coming in front of me. They're sitting in a circle, and they're noisy like little kids should be. They're doing a great job at it. One little boy is going, "It's too loud in here. It's too loud in here." And I go, "Autism. I don't know autism, but I read about it." And he followed autism to the perfect pattern. I said, "Well, he isn't really, you know, comfortable here. You can go sit back on those little black plastic bleachers back there." And he doesn't face the class, he faces the wall. He's looking for less stimulation, and it's just like, he got to fit in the way he fits in. And that taught me something. And at the same time, after he was done, he chirped like a little bird when it was time to leave the class, where he almost maybe didn't fit in himself. So it was a wonderful moment to recall and share with you here. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. Are there others who would like to share? If not, I actually do have a 10-page document here, which I am not going to read. But I do have one story I'd like to tell. That actually, after I wrote my sermon, which I finished on Thursday, before I went to bed last night, I sat down and typed this out. It's about a learning experience that I had. And the name of the story is the story of Potato Girl. So when I was 17, I had a classmate, a friend named Sam. Sam and I were high school seniors, and we were also science nerds. Our chemistry teacher, Mr. Sorm, suggested that the two of us should create a project for a regional science fair to be held in 4 months' time in Grand Forks, North Dakota, 80 miles north of our school. Together, we devised a machine that fired electrons at steel plates and could make various interesting designs. Fortunately, my uncle had a very complete machine shop and was willing to give us some helpful hints. Also, I was a farm boy, so I was pretty good at welding, tap and die, and simple lathe work. When after 4 months we completed our machine, not only did it look impressive, it made snap, crackle, pop noises when in operation, along with lots of sparks and an occasional bolt of lightning coming off the electron gun. It was powered by a 12-volt battery. It was a cold, still, dark February morning when we traveled to Grand Forks and set up our machine in the big auditorium. There were probably 100 or more booths set up by kids from all over the eastern part of the state. Down the way from us was a booth set up by a girl who Sam and I agreed was the most beautiful girl we had ever seen. She had long red hair and about 1 million freckles, and was, of course, since it was the 60s, was wearing a miniskirt. Unbeknownst to Sam and me, she would become our teacher. Her science experiment involved charting the differences in growing rates of potato plants that had music piped to them 24 hours a day and those that had not. Sam and I quickly developed a deep interest in potato plants. We found her experiment to be beyond fascinating. We wondered out loud if a Nobel Prize might be in her future. Meanwhile, our project was getting a lot of attention from everybody because of the sparks and crackling sounds as the electron gun rattled away. Because of our newfound interest in potatoes, we did not pay close attention to our machine, and by midday, We had drained the 12-volt battery we had brought with us. No problem, we had a battery in my car. I removed the car battery and the show went on. Interestingly, the judges did not admire Potato Girl's potatoes as much as we did. Sam and I won the technology division of the science fair, while Potato Girl received a yellow ribbon that said something like, "Thank you for participating." Sam and I received a large blue ribbon medallion emblazoned with first prize technology division and a very impressive certificate. You are probably guessing the next part of the story. When the show was over and we reinstalled the battery, there was not enough juice to start the car. The huge parking lot was emptying out. It was very cold and getting dark. We were 80 miles from home. We were feeling a bit anxious when Potato Girl drove up, rolled down her window, and asked if there was a problem. After we filled her in, she graciously offered to jump our battery so we could get the car started. This was back in the days when everybody carried jumper cables in the winter in North Dakota. I still have a set in my trunk. She opined that since she was being so generous, and that perhaps we should gift her with our first prize ribbon. When we appeared reluctant, she told us about her parents and how they were recently divorced and how her dad had moved out of the house. She further related how this had really affected her mom's confidence and that her bringing home a blue ribbon would help put at ease her mom's anxiety about raising her and her little sister in a single-parent home. She told us having the blue ribbon wasn't really important to her, but it would mean a lot to her mother. So we handed over the ribbon, jumped the battery, started the car, and drove the 80 miles back home. We wondered as we hummed down the highway if Potato Girl's story about her parents' divorce was true. We decided it didn't make any difference. It was a great day to be alive. And sometimes the potatoes are so beautiful, it just takes your breath away. Later, a picture of us standing by our machine and holding the certificate appeared in the local newspaper. No one ever asked either of us where our ribbon was. Now for the interesting part of the story. 3 months later, Sam and I graduated from high school and went on our separate ways. He went to a Mennonite college in Kansas, and I went to Air Force basic training in Texas. We did not see or hear from each other for 4 decades. 40 years later, when I was in my late 50s, I received a telephone call. It is Sam. He has tracked me down. He tells me he has cancer and is dying. He wants to talk about that cold day back in Grand Forks when we were 17, when the potatoes were beautiful and life was so full and rich. We agreed that there was a luminous quality to that day, that we had fallen head over heels in love with life. We remembered how we couldn't stop laughing on the long, dark drive home. 3 days after our phone call, Sam's sister calls me. Sam had died during the night. Sam's sister informed me that in Sam's last days, he had cut himself off from his elderly mother and father, who were very conservative Mennonites. She further informed me that Sam's parents would very much like to know what Sam and I had talked about during our phone conversation. I told her the story of Potato Girl, our first place blue ribbon, and how we laughed and laughed all the way home on that golden February night. So here is what Sam, Potato Girl, and life itself taught me that strange, gorgeous, crystalline day. It seemed to me that what people really want is not salvation, our satori, not enlightenment, our nirvana, not to be as rich as Jeff Bezos, as famous as Taylor Swift, or as powerful as a general with tens of thousands of men at their command. What we really want is to feel alive, to lick our plates clean, to embrace life and kiss it on the lips. So let's take a moment and make ourselves into a reflective state and reflect on teachers who have shaped our lives. In the quiet of our hearts, we recall the ones who saw us when we felt unseen, who nurtured our minds and souls, who opened the doors of learning and possibility. We give thanks for their patience, their dedication, and their belief in us, especially in moments when we did not believe in ourselves. We honor their wisdom, knowing they carried the weight of guiding us, not just in facts and knowledge, but in the art of living. May we in gratitude carry forward what they have given us, and may we offer the same gifts to others, whether through teaching, mentoring, or simply sharing what we have learned. And I would just like to say too that some of my greatest teachers have been you guys. I had quite a lot different idea about what ministry was about when I first came here 15 years ago. And now I realize that it's not just about good worship services or good music. They're important too. But what's really important is this community and supporting each other, keeping it safe. Oh, so hard to keep it safe, but that's what we got to do. So thank you. Thank you all for being my teachers.
Even though we extinguish this flame, the light of learning and love does not fade, but travels with us into the world. Let us leave here mindful of the teachers who have touched our lives and grateful for the lessons they have shared. And may we each, in our own way, become beacons of knowledge, compassion, and inspiration for others. Go in peace.
Amen. Thank you, Beth and Dave.